just start the season. Can we please? It's the longest offseason in pro sports. Let's get to some Bills football. Welcome to the Buffalo No-Huddle with the Batavia Daily News and Livingston County News. I'm Jimi Jamm from CJ Country, and along with me, Marc Tillery, who's the creative director here at the News. And Marc and I have known each other for a long time. We're Bills fans, so we're happy to host this. This show is going to be about what happened the previous week, what's going to happen this upcoming week as we follow the Bills through what we hope will be a magical 2021 season. And your feedback and input is going to be appreciated as we go through this together. Marc, you ready?
I'm ready, man.
All right.
I've been excited about this for a long time. We've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah.
And even the battle wounds you and I walked out of it with the games that we went to together. We said if we ever get a chance to be in front of camera doing this, we're going to do it. And I want to thank the Daily News for giving me the opportunity to really bring this. And there was nobody else I was going to bring on but Jimi Jamm. So I'm excited to have him aboard.
When he talks battle scars, he's talking about the early 2000s going to games. Painful. Painful.
I'm talking about E.J. Manuel when we watched him. We're like, yeah, he's going to go in and do something. Didn't happen, man. So we shall not say his name.
Let's not do that again, please. Let's talk about this past preseason. The Bills go 3-0 in the preseason, which you can take with a grain of salt. But what were your observations in watching the three games?
You know, Coach McDermott and Bean put together one heck of a team to the point where you can sum it all up with the bench went out there and did a great job.
Yeah.
The bench went out there and did what starters would do. It gives me that security blanket where if you'll say, God forbid Allen goes down or God forbid we lose one of our big starters, that team could go in and they could play some ball.
It was neat to see. It was neat to watch a preseason game and not worry about. Well, they look sort of weak there. I hope that's going to get better. He looks like he could improve. They got depth. They really got depth. This team's got talent across the board. It's exciting to see them build this from the ground up, like you say, McDermott and Bean, the way they built this team from the ground up. So a good preseason. Allen didn't have to play much, and when he did, it was granted it was against Green Bay's JV squad, but nonetheless,
exactly.
But he looked fantastic doing it. So into this season. We are going to be looking at the team here. Well, first of all, we can start off this week by talking about what's going to happen with the team or what we think will happen and go forward from there. But why don't we take a step forward and talk to our sports writer from the Batavia Daily News, Alex Brasky. Let's get his thoughts on what he thinks for this season.
Another big season expected from the Buffalo Bills as they get set to kick things off this weekend against the Pittsburgh Steelers at Highmark Stadium. Before we get to the Bills' Week 1 matchup, let's break things down as far as what we can expect from the Bills across the board as a whole going in to the regular season. Beginning with quarterback Josh Allen, historic marks from Allen a season ago. The question is whether or not he can continue his ascent as the Bills' franchise quarterback. One major factor in whether or not Allen can accomplish that, wide receiver Stefon Diggs, also historic marks from Diggs last season. The best wide receiver numbers-wise in the NFL last season. Can he keep the ball rolling in his second season as a Buffalo Bill? In front of Josh Allen, that offensive line, a lot of continuity up front for the Bills, but the guard position, that's one question that the Bills have to answer this season. They have three individuals vying for two spots. That's John Feliciano, Ike Butker, and Cody Ford. We may see a rotation of the three here in Week 1 and maybe even throughout the season, but those three trying to lock down two spots, and there is a bit of a question mark there up front for the Bills. The offensive line was good, not great last season. If the Bills hope to win a Super Bowl, they need their offensive line to be great this year. Another factor in the Bills' success this season, the running game. Who will we see take a step forward? Will it be Devin Singletary? Will it be Zach Moss? Will it be the newcomer, Matt Breida? That question is up in the air as well as the regular season gets underway. Special teams-wise, the kicker, Tyler Bass, had a great season last year, especially a great end of the season, a fantastic preseason for Bass as well. I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not Bass can put his foot forward as far as becoming one of the best kickers in the NFL this season. Also on special teams, punter Matt Hack, his first season with the Bills, had an up and down preseason. One of the attributes that the Bills are looking forward to out of Hack this season is his ability as a holder for Tyler Bass. So we'll see whether or not his holding ability is all it's cracked up to be and if he can find a bit more consistency punting the football. Defensively, the Bills have very few question marks. They have a lot of returning players, especially in their back end. At linebacker, Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds, their two starters at linebacker. Tremaine Edmonds has had a good career thus far, but really has yet to put forth that transcendent season, and I think fans are looking for that out of him this season. In front of the linebackers on the defensive line, Star Lotulelei back in the fold for the Bills this season. That should free things up not only for the edge rushers, but also the linebackers, Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds as well. Speaking of those edge rushers, a lot of new blood in there for the Bills this season, especially Gregory Rousseau, who really seems to have hit the ground running in the preseason, and the Bills expect a lot out of Rousseau coming up beginning week 1 against the Steelers. Also, A.J. Epinesa seems to have taken a step forward this season, and we'll see if Rousseau, Epinesa, and another rookie, Boogie Basham, can put things together and contribute alongside veterans Mario Addison and Jerry Hughes. In the secondary, All-Pro cornerback Tre'Davious White is leading the way, but for that second cornerback job, it's going to be interesting to see whether Levi Wallace can put his stamp on that job and really hold it down all season long, or whether or not Dane Jackson will come in and maybe rotate or perhaps steal the job from Wallace as the season goes on. In the back end at safety, the Bills have perhaps the best tandem in the NFL in Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. Their experience not only on the field, but experience on the field together should prove invaluable for the Bills, this season. The Bills have the right two guys leading the way for them year in and year out. Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane have done a fantastic job building this roster into a Super Bowl caliber roster, and it really seems like this Bills team could go on a run for years to come.
All right, Alex, thank you. He'll be back at the end to give you a prediction on the Pittsburgh game coming up this Sunday. And keep in mind, Bills fans, because of the number of gates they're going to have open, show up early. The gates are going to open a half hour earlier than they typically do at 11 versus 11:30. They had some problems at the Green Bay game, so there's going to be less gates open. So if you want to get accommodated, you got to adjust your tailgating time a little bit earlier to get in. All right? So this season, Mark, when you look at where the Bills are and what they've built, what needs to be better or different so they can take that next level and climb to the top of the AFC and go to the Super Bowl?
I mean, what it comes down to is we've definitely improved on the offensive line. You know, there was a lot of issues last year where, you know, there's points where we could have had TDs and Allen just they were in his kitchen the entire game. Take, for instance,
some playoff time, yeah.
Pittsburgh last year. They were on him the entire time, Watt was, but, you know, hopefully we don't have to worry about that this Sunday. Mm-hmm. Hopefully. I mean, it's like you don't want to say, hey, I hope this player doesn't play so we can actually do better. I want every bit of challenge that's going to go to Buffalo to know what this team's made out of, going right out the gates.
We don't know at this point when we're taping this whether T.J. Watt will play for the Steelers, but I'm not going to be sad if he's not going to sign. I mean,
I won't be sad either, but there's always that, if we win and Watt's not there's always that asterisk going into the next game. Well, they did it without Watt. There's always naysayers out there. If you're a Buffalo fan, you've learned there's naysayers.
This is the NFL. Injuries are going to happen, and players are going to be out, and we live in the era of COVID right now. That's going to happen, so you can't make excuses. You just got to roll with who you got, and we got the depth to do it. Now, to your point, the places where I think the Bills need to improve, obviously. They need to be able to stop the run. So Star Lotulelei, him being back is great, although he's got that calf injury. We're going to see if he's going to end up playing on Sunday against Pittsburgh. But having him back as a space eater helps. They got some guys as far as Basham and Rousseau through the draft. Guys that can rush the quarterback. So the most important thing is they want to be able to rush and put pressure on without having to blitz.
Right.
So now they've got guys who can do that. Rousseau looks surprisingly good. I think he ramped up a little faster than they thought he would in development. Boogie Basham's going to take a minute, but he flashed as well too. And keep in mind, he's got several different roles he's going to play, so it's going to take him a little longer to come together. So that's one aspect for me, getting the pass rush together and stopping the run. Now, as far as the running game on offense, they've got to be able to run the ball. Those backs have to run with some authority. We need Devin Singletary, who looked great, by the way, in the preseason. We need him to step up a little bit more and produce. And Breida looked good. Matt Breida looked good in the preseason. And Zach Moss is there, and hopefully those guys, if they can get a little more production out of them, it keeps teams guessing. So, you know what I mean? Because there are going to be teams that are going to key on ways to beat Allen and beat the offensive spread, although we've added Emmanuel Sanders as a wide receiver as well, too. We got one of the deepest receiving corps in the NFL. But really, I think It's stop the run, be able to run. That's the big key for me, I think, overall.
We're also playing a team, and I was on that team last year, and who knows, like I said, we'll go back in that again. But they put up 43 yards on the ground last year against this Pittsburgh team. Mm-hmm. Now, is it going to be an air game? Is it going to be a run game? I mean, the thing is that defense goes in after Allen, and we're talking about that secondary. The same Allen throws into that secondary. We got a good shot of with the receiving core that we have really doing something big.
With Dable, you could be either if the running game is good because he's that versatile to change and adjust the offense. Look what he did for Trubisky in that preseason game.
Absolutely.
He worked an offense that worked to Trubisky's skill set, and that's what makes me confident too. Having a great number two. If heaven forbid something happens to Josh, Dable could make an offense work with Trubisky. He showed that in the preseason, so I'm excited about that prospect. Now, the schedule. Looking at the schedule.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. The strength of schedule, right now the Bills have the 23rd toughest schedule in the league. But if you follow the league for as long as we have, that doesn't mean a whole lot by about week 8. You know what I mean? Those records, you can throw them out because they really don't matter. Some teams are going to rise. Some teams are going to get off to a bad start and wobble, and the wheels fall off, and they go, okay, let's start thinking about next year. Things change. So, looking at the schedule, you can't assume anything. You've got to look at the fact that starting off, the Bills need to start off really strong out the gate. No worse than 3-1, I think. You're playing the Steelers in the opener. They're 6.5-point favorites. Then they go down and face Miami in week 2. And we're going to see, and we'll get into the AFC East and what our thoughts are about how far this team can go. Then they've got the Texans, which you would think on paper would be a game, but that's why they play the games. And then after that, they've got to play in week... No, the Texans are actually the 4th game. I take that back. Week 3 is Washington at home. That's the extra game we picked up this year because of the schedule change to 17 games.
Right.
So, coming out of the first week or first 4 weeks, 3-1. I mean, they can go 4-0, but I think 3-1 it gives you the best chance to get off to a fast start before you hit the rest of the schedule because there are some tougher games later on. You know what I mean? They're gonna play the Buccaneers. They're gonna play New England. Don't sleep on New England. They're gonna be playing some teams here that are gonna be getting in their kitchen. And I think the biggest challenge. And why don't we get to that while we're talking about it? Let's get to what we think will happen this season as far as record and the division. Because here's the thing. Everybody's feeling really good right now about this team's chances.
Right.
And the pundits are lauding Buffalo. And you're seeing all that right now. And you're seeing all the accolades for Allen before the season even starts. That's a dangerous proposition. And I don't want people to drink the Kool-Aid so much. It's just, you've seen this movie before. You got to be careful, and you got to not assume that everything's going to be handed to the Bills this season. If they come out of the gates screaming and they're killing it, and they're the team we hope they'll be, great.
Right.
But let's look at the AFC East. Mac Jones, better. It's an improvement to New England by bringing him in. That quarterback, if they're running offense that's tailored to him, that's a good thing.
And Mac Jones is definitely a system quarterback.
That's what I'm saying.
Cam Newton was a cakewalk for us last year. And no offense to the guy's talent or anything else, but he didn't fit New England, just like Ocho Cinco didn't fit New England. Mac Jones is, to me, that's what I didn't want to see. I wanted us to walk over New England for the next couple years.
They're always reloading.
Again, Belichick is one of those. He's quiet. He sits quiet in the cut, and next thing you know, he's beating us up again. But I think we have a team now. We have the staff, we have the coaching that's really, really gonna compete with New England and all these other teams, and maybe smash them in the mouth again.
Well, but they're not the only problem in the East. You got Miami, who won 10 games last year with Tua, and granted, they'll miss Fitz. I think not re-signing him is a mistake.
Right.
But Tua, some people are saying he's improved, and we'll be surprised at how much he's grown. I think some of that might be whistling in the alley, so to speak. You know what I mean? Just wishful thinking on their part. I'm not sure. Maybe he'll be great, but we got to watch out for them. You can't sleep on Miami. And here's the deal: a hungry Jets team with Robert Saleh as the coach, and now they got Zach Wilson as their quarterback. And some people think he might be the best projected quarterback to come out of this draft. Some people are thinking that. Some people think it's Mac Jones. But think about it. It's all in our division. It's all in our division. I mean, this division is going to be tough for a long time to come. Allen's the oldest quarterback at 25. The rest of it's all youth.
Yeah.
And I don't sleep on any of these teams. There is a chance that Buffalo can very well not win this division. I mean, do not sleep on New England. I tend to think New England's going to be a wild card. But here's the thing. Keep everything in perspective. Be happy if everything works out the way you want it to. But I'm not, but I don't assume anything is going to be handed to us this season. This AFC East is going to be rough. So I'm going to go to you first. Season record. What will they finish with a new 17-game season? What will their record be?
I'm one of those fans, not an analyst. Like I said, I'm one of those fans that no game to me is a squash game. I can go into a game with high hopes, and next thing you know, we got tears in our eyes at the end of the game. It's happened far too many times where
many times.
I won't hear from him for about 4 days, and
Right?
I know exactly what's going on. We're all sulking. But I'm gonna stick to my guns, and I'm gonna say we're gonna get 14 wins.
Wow.
I think it's strong. I know it's a huge number to put up there, but I honestly think this team has the ability and has the talent and certainly has all the tools to go 14 wins.
See, with me, because based on all the stuff I just told you, I'm going to reserve my thoughts and say 12 wins. I'm going to say it's a 12-5 season. Cynthia Froyland at NFL Network has the Bills. She has their median record at 11-5. It could be above that, could be below that. You know what I mean? That there's an opportunity. They could be a 14-win team like you. They could also be a 9-win team, and based on her analysis. So you gotta. I'm saying 12. I'm saying 12, and I think they'll handle their business. I feel good about the way this team works together, the way the coaching has built them to play together. I mean, there's so much talent here to keep the offensive coordinator in place, the defensive coordinator in place, and being a McDermott, I just feel like everything's stable, but more teams are gunning for you. You get a target on your back. So my question is to you now, with that 12-5 record, or your 14, are they the team that can win the AFC? Because that AFC is loaded.
I'm not afraid to say it. We live in a whole modern day of sports now. For some reason, Buffalo, we have this gift. We have this special. I want to say it's a blessing that there's a culture. This team wants to win. They want to win for this city.
Right.
They see how the city embraces them. It'll be 0-degree weather, and they're out at the airports waiting for them. They're out waiting for this team outside the stadium, and the players have embraced that, man. They want to win for these fans, and yes, it might be about ability and it might be about money in sports, but Buffalo will never lose culture.
Yeah.
These players they love it. They've
from the players to the fans,
they've embraced everything
right across the board.
They love the fans.
So the Pittsburgh game here. Let's talk about Pittsburgh really quick here, because and we're going to get Alex Brasky's take on it here coming up too. Give your prediction for what's going to happen for this game on Sunday versus the Steelers.
I have said this all week, and I'm going to say it again. I said it was going to be a 31-14 or 28-14 victory, Buffalo.
Okay.
I think we have the tools to do it. I think, especially Taron Johnson, that was basically his coming out party last year against.
He's got the wrap
Roethlisberger.
on his hand. His hand's still he's still working his way back from that hand injury he's going on right now. But he should play.
And the thing is, if we get to Roethlisberger earlier and he's throwing the balls like that, he's obviously been Roethlisberger. He's had one heck of a career, but
he's never going to be healthier than he is right now.
And that's the thing. Father Time always wins, not unless it's Tom Brady. But
Right.
Father Time always wins. Where we start getting in his kitchen early,
Yeah.
he's throwing that way. Next thing you know, we got a pick six, and there it is. I honestly think that if we rattle Roethlisberger early and shut that running game down, then we got one heck of a chance to pull a 28-14, and that other 7 and the 14 is going to come garbage time.
Yeah, I mean Najee Harris. I'm curious to see how well he's going to do.
Yep.
Their rookie running back. I'm going to say 21-13. Now, again, I'm going to play a little bit more cautious with this, but it's the opener. I mean, my heart's telling me the vibe in that place and everything, it could be bigger. And I know people are picking bigger scores. I'm just going to say the Steelers are still the Steelers. The Steelers are going to be a potential playoff team. I'm going to say 21-13. Nothing's a given. They've played them tight the last 2 games. Why not a third? Right now, though, let's get the pick from Daily News sports writer Alex Brasky.
Moving forward to the Week 1 matchup against the Steelers, I think this is a win for the Bills. The Bills have proven in the past few years that they can beat the Steelers in prime time. In this, a Sunday afternoon matchup, I think the Bills will have little trouble with the Steelers, as there are several question marks as far as Pittsburgh is concerned. Beginning with their quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, a fantastic start to last season, really wore down as the season went on. And coming into this season, this is kind of a make-or-break season for Roethlisberger at the end of his career. And one major question mark outside of the quarterback is in front of Roethlisberger on the offensive line. The Steelers' offensive line really not raved about by beat writers in Pittsburgh, and a lot of question marks up there as far as the protection that Roethlisberger will see against the Bills. I'm excited to see some NFL football back on the field this weekend. It should be a good one between the Bills and the Steelers, but give me the Bills to win this one, 41-21.
All right, Alex, thank you so much. All right, so that is our preview show for the start of the season. So when we get back next Thursday, We will recap what happened in the Steeler game. We'll hand out player awards. That's something we're doing. It's a little different, our player awards here, but we've got different names and stuff, but it'll be fun, and we'll want to know what you guys think out there as well, too. And through the season, we'll bring you some of the flavor. I go to all the games and stuff like that. I'll capture some essence of what's going on there. Mark's promising a few celebrity guests to sit in our In the Spot session, which is going to be every week. Besides our picks and Alex's picks, we're going to have somebody. It could be a local businessman. It could be a celeb. It could be whoever they're giving their picks on the game as well, too. But we're excited about this.
Yeah.
And we're happy to bring this to you. So any final thoughts?
Well, I definitely want to say we want to get them involved in this. So we're going to be putting polls on the Daily News' Facebook page, and we're going to be, doing that throughout the season, getting you guys involved, because you might see us on the streets, and we're going to, you're going to be on the show with us.
I don't know how I sleep weird hours. I don't know that that's a thing.
Yeah, you're definitely going to see me out there. He's going to be. Hey, he's going to be covering the stadium on Sundays. I'm going to be covering the local scene, and we definitely want to have you guys as a part of the show.
Sure.
We're excited to have this. So on behalf of Chris Metcalf, Alex Brasky, and myself, and, of course, CJ Country's own Jimi Jamm, we are excited to bring you guys the Buffalo No-Huddle this season, and we look forward to just bringing you guys the hits every week, and certainly we got some great stuff in store for you.
All right. Until next week, next Thursday, have a great week. Go Bills.